Back on trail, back in the Chippewa National Forest today, on my way to a riverside campsite I've been looking at on my map for a while. The only issue with these dispersed campsites in the Chippewa is there's no way of usually knowing of what you're getting into. No way of knowing if the site is any good, if it's accessible, or even if it's there anymore. This first site I had in mind turned out to be a bust. One of those sites that is no longer there. As you can see right here, this is the road coming into the site, and this little kind of short clearing off to the right here is actually supposed to be the site. So not there. I got out of my truck, looked around, found nothing. Went down to the river, found nothing. So from here, it's on to the next spot. Always a good idea to have multiple backup spots for situations like this one. Well, here's a campsite I was trying to get to. Here's the sign for it. So this is definitely a camp spot. The road getting in here was not easy. It was completely overgrown in mud. But, I mean, all this really is just a clearing in the woods. That's all this is, with a lot of bugs. So I'm gonna kind of scope around real quick and just make sure I'm not gonna run over a fire pit. And then I'm just gonna turn around and get out of here. Of course, it looks like it keeps going right here now that I'm looking. You see a little clearing in the woods right there. But yeah, there's, I mean, no fire pit that I've seen. So let's take a walk in the woods here and see how this is back here. Well, here's another spot that's supposed to be lake access, boat launch, campsite. And it's just an open pit. The lake's like right here, but there's no way to get to it. I've even seen like a walking trail to get to it. So that's another busted campsite for today. It's getting to be almost 2 o'clock now, so I got a couple more in mind, but I don't know if I'm gonna get skunked today or not. What is cool though, which made the whole day worth it, is on this trail right here, about right here, when I was walking up the trail to see where I was going, because there's a tree kind of that I can cut, but I didn't want to cut it if I didn't have to. So I was walking around this tree, and right about here is a giant black bear ran out across right here. And I couldn't get a video in time, but boy, he was probably tied for the biggest black bear I've ever seen. He was a big boy. So they are out here. All right, at another bust. This makes 3 in a row. I don't even know if I'm camping tonight. I mean, these are all forest labeled areas, but like this one, you just come out to an open field. I mean, you can definitely camp here, but this just isn't what I'm looking for. I'm kind of looking for a creek or a lake or a river or something with water. Right now in these weedy forest areas, it's just flies and bugs galore. So got one more in this area I'm gonna check out, and I think it's more of like a campground, but it seems like a not very known about campground where it's almost like a backcountry campground. So I'm gonna test that out and see how that's looking, but the pickings are getting slim in this area. Well, here I am at the campgrounds, and as you can tell, there's people here too. This isn't completely not known about. 2 or 3 cars here, but you can camp. You can tent camp right here, no charge, free. There's a campground on the other side of this, like another 5 minutes down the road. There's an actual national forest campground that you pay for, but if you want to park here and carry your stuff into here, it's free. But I'm just not feeling the spot, so I know I looked up another spot around here, so I'm gonna try that and see how that goes. All right, this site isn't looking too promising either. I'm down a forest road that is extremely overgrown. It looks like somebody's been back here at some point recently, but there's a big log on the road up here, and I'm not sawing that log because it just isn't worth it. There's like 1 or 2 more spots that are like spur trails, not labeled campsites, that look like they might be a campsite, but right now I'm looking like I'm skunked today. There has been nothing but overgrown and missing sites up here, and nothing is worth me camping at tonight. Like I said, the highlight of the day is seeing that giant bear run across the trail in front of me as I was walking down a overgrown forest road. But I'll back up out of here and see what else I can find. All right, well, here's the road I was gonna go into, right here on the Boy River. It's a site right on the river here. I'm pretty sure an ATV can get down that, but I'm gonna walk it because this is pretty tight. I can get down here with my truck, but it would just be tight, and I'd have a whole bunch of forest pinstripes on my truck, which I don't mind, but I want to make sure there's no tree or something down to where it's not worth backing back out of here, because this site is right on the river, and if you can get back here, I'm sure it's a beautiful site. So we'll check back in when I get to the site. All right, well, as you can tell, this is a nice site on the river, like a spot, but I mean, the site itself is way unkept and not taken care of. So, I mean, there's no fire pit that I can see at least. So, I do not know if this is worth driving back here and camping back here. I can definitely get my truck back here. It'd be tight, but I can definitely fit back here. But this is definitely, you can tell, more of like an ATV type spot. And you'd have to, you're almost forced to car camp. I mean, I guess you could set up a tent here, but yeah, this would be definitely tight. There is something in the woods. Is that a deer? It's been screaming, making that noise, and it's getting closer and closer. And I can almost hear it moving around out there. That's big. Whatever that is, it's big. I think I'm leaving. Not just because of that, but I just don't think this is a site that's worth it. It's pretty buggy. It's pretty tight back here. If I get my truck back here, I don't really have anywhere to hang out. So I think I'm moving on from this site again. This site also, I should say. Like I said, it's got potential, but it's just really tight and small back here. This might be like a good fall or spring spot, but as of right now, it's just too overgrown. It's just too buggy out here. So, and that I can definitely tell it's further away now, that sound. I think that's a deer, a warning call from a deer. But yeah, so that's gonna be a no-go. I don't wanna squeeze back here and sit in that little bug infested tiny little area that's pretty enclosed. So we'll see, on to the next one. All right, that camp spot was not happening, as you could tell. I ran into a lake, and like I was saying to myself, I'm 80 to 90% sure I would have made it. I could have just raised my truck up to the highest setting and I probably would have been fine. But as you see, I kind of went about 15 to 20 feet into it, and then all of a sudden I kind of bottomed out at that one spot. And if I was bottoming out 15 to 20 feet in, chances are, you know, I don't want to take the chance that something was going to be deeper further in, like in the middle of that. So I'm turning around and I'm heading back out this epic forest road that has been definitely a fun one. But this campsite wasn't going to happen. I'm not making it out there unless you have like a lifted Wrangler. So I'm going to head to now a fire tower, or a lookout tower, that's in the area that I just discovered, kind of searching through my maps. I was kind of looking for other campsites in the area. So I'm going to see if that lookout tower is able to go to it and able to get up it. Who knows? And I think that might be my last stop of the day, unless I find something else like on the way to that or something. But this day has kind of been a bust for campsites. Well, I am at the lookout, and it is just nowhere to be found. It's just another area. Had a little forest road that was really tight, of course, and got back here, and there's nothing back here except a fire pit where people have camped. So on to the next lookout tower that's on my way home, so we'll see if that's there. All right, I am at Ben Draper Fire Tower, or Lookout Tower, whatever it is. And that's the trail to get up there. It should be right there, but I don't see a fire tower anywhere. And this was a pretty sketch road to get here too, so. But from this point, it says foot travel only, even though I'm seeing ATVs that have came down here. But so I'm gonna walk up to the end here. It shouldn't be but 5 minutes. I will check back in if there is a lookout tower up here. All right, so there is a lookout tower. Sweet. I wonder if we're able to go up inside of it or up top and take a peek. Let's find out. Well, that kind of sucks. They took the stairs away, so you can't go up. I mean, you could literally scale the sides right there if you want and walk all the way up. But then once you do get to all those platforms up there, who knows how rotted away all that wood is and how long it's been not maintained. So I'm not going to do that. As much as I would love to go up there and see the view from up here, it's just not worth the risk. So that's too bad, because that would have been fun. That would have been real fun to see lookout tower out in the middle of the Chip. What's been kind of cool out here, as I've been looking around, is you see all the poles. They've all got stuff written on them from to the 70s. I think 67 was the earliest one I have found. Like here's 1977. I mean, a lot of 70s. I've seen a lot of 70s and 80s. 2005, 1986, 8775. So Laura Wood from Lakeville. Laura Wood from Lakeville in 1975 liked to graffiti everywhere. But yeah, I mean, as much as you call it graffiti, it's kind of cool to see. Like in 2024, I can see the people that were here in 1975. Makes you wonder if they're even alive anymore. You know, it's kind of crazy that this has been here that long. And people have been visiting this tower for that long. That is crazy. But that's going to call it. This is on my way home. This was probably 15 to 20 minutes away from that last camp spot I was scoping out. So I am just going to call it from this point. Had a fun day of off-roading and exploring campsites and seeing what's there and what's not there. So that's kind of how these things go sometimes. Not every campsite is guaranteed. So it's, like I said, it's just nice to kind of get out into the North Woods anyway and kind of take some forest roads. And I did see, it was probably tied with the biggest black bear I've ever seen in my life. And it was probably from here, see where the top of that hill is? It was probably that far away from me. I was just walking down a forest road. Wasn't for sure if I wanted to fit my truck down the tight road or not. So I was kind of walking it out just to see what the road was going to look like. And as I'm walking down that road, that bear just came right out. And I kind of stopped for a second, like, do I want to go back to my truck? He was pretty big, but like it was running from me. You know, it was definitely not a threat to me at all. So fun little trip, but no camp out. Catch me on the next one.